beautiful people, welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Tiara Lene, and on my channel here, I focus on faith and family, books, all the things while balancing life with work and aiming to hopefully be an encouragement to you. In a previous vlog, I shared with you guys that in 2026, I wanted to start trying new things. And specifically, I wanted to try things that I've talked about doing for a while and never actually committed to them. For me, one of those things was Pilates. While I do like mat Pilates at home here and there, I wanted it to be something that I was consistent with and was held accountable for. So I ended up signing up for this Pilates studio class that's like around the corner from my house. They have a membership where it's kind of like tiered. You can take, 4 classes in a month, 8 classes in a month, 12 classes a month, and then like 16 or something like that in a month. So you have different tiers. I decided that I wanted to be realistic, right? I didn't want to start this journey, trying to do too much at once and then obviously failing because I couldn't keep up. Additionally, these classes aren't cheap. And so taking one a week was very much so doable for my budget and my schedule and probably my energy levels. So today was the first class of January. I had to take the introduction class in order to enroll. That's one of their requirements, just to make sure that you kind of know what you're stepping into. And, just to introduce you to the studio, to the team. It's a very small studio. They have just a couple of locations in the state. Hold on. They have just a couple of locations. And so, you get to know everybody. It's a really tight-knit community. And that was also something that I was looking for. So just finished that class. It was far more challenging than I thought it was going to be. My legs were literally shaking. And at one point, I feel like I had a knot in my core because I was activating it really hard. So good thing is that I'm being challenged for sure. It's not like I'm wasting my time or my money. It's just something I'm going to have to eventually get used to, obviously. And that's kind of what the teacher was saying today. She was just like, this is one of those things where it's going to be hard today. But the more you come and the more consistent you are, it'll start to get not easier, but more endurable. For right now, since I've gotten home and I am solo dolo while the kids are gone, I'm going to just take a minute to relax, reflect. I have some journaling I want to do. I try to make sure I journal in the morning just to start my day, kind of flesh out all my thoughts and anything that's weighing on me. So I want to do that and get some breakfast because I just did that workout. So I need to get some protein in me ASAP. Okay, so it's actually much later in the day than I had anticipated. I kind of got in my head, if I'm honest, about 2026 because I will usually end my year with a lot more structure. I try to go into and come out of December with a plan for how I want to approach the new year. And it's nothing rigid by any means, but I will usually try to give myself, some focus points so that I'm going into a new year already with, a lot of motivation and, just ready to hit the ground running. I want to go in with that energy, knowing where I'm going to put that energy. Unfortunately, I think toward the end of the year, was so focused on, if I'm honest, survival and just making sure everything that I needed to finish the year out with was done, that I never gave myself a chance to think about the next year ahead or the year that we are now in and consider what I wanted it to look like and what my focus should be and things of that nature. So I feel like I've kind of been stumbling the past few days, just trying to get my footing and figure out where should I put my attention and my energy, versus kind of just doing more of the same that I did at the end of 2025. Okay, so now that I kind of realize that I don't have focus, I'm like, okay, where am I going to get this focus? I remember last year doing a collage, if you will, or a vision board-ish type of thing on Canva, and I made it my kind of my screensaver cover page. This is screensaver, right? Home screen for my phone. So every time I opened my phone, I saw my vision board. I want to do that again. This time I want it to be on all of my screens. So I have an iPad and I have a MacBook, so I want it to be on the home screen for all of those devices as well. But I want to first go back to that 2025 vision board and figure out what from there, what do I want to take in with me to 2026? What was not working for me in 2025, so I'm going to leave it behind. And what maybe I was excited about for 2025 that I never really got a chance to really dive into that I want to bring back up in 2026. And then of course, anything that, I've considered trying or I have interest in, or a new goal that has presented itself that I do want to take into 2026 with me. I want to consider all of those things. And then I want to make another vision board so that I said I can put it on all my home screens so I'll see it throughout the year. Okay, so it literally took me forever to find my 2025 vision board, probably because the file is corrupted on my phone. Oh wait, I don't have enough space. Okay, don't worry about it. As much as I can, I'm going to put an image. Matter of fact, let me move over to the side so you can see even better. I'm gonna put an image of my 2025 vision board right here. So what I'm gonna do is kind of just like briefly explain what each of the images mean, and then kind of talk about what that means for me moving into the new year and whether or not I think it's something that I want to do. I just realized I moved the camera. Did I move the camera? Ignore me, y'all. Okay, first and foremost, we're just gonna go top left of the picture to the right, left, right, kind of like how you'd read a book on a page. A book on a page? A page in a book. Oh my God. There's an image actually on the top left and on the bottom left that I kind of want to talk about together. So the top left was more me giving myself a vision of what I want my body to look like. I have a goal for my physique. I know it sounds super superficial, but I remember when I was at my healthiest, how I felt even before how I looked. And I know it was because of the way I was, working out, the food I was putting into my body, and my physique was just evidence of that work. So I'm doing a lot of that work now, and I just want to see the evidence of that. And so that's essentially what that image reflects. I'm a mom of two, so getting back to my old body, my old self, that's never going to happen. So I want to realize a new body, a new physique that I haven't seen before. And that image is a reflection of that. I've never looked like that, but I want to make it a possibility. So I want to shoot for something like that. And then on the bottom left, there's also a picture of a young woman with the long hair dressed with the white shirt and the green skirt. That was more image for me to practice maybe more mindfully dressing and more modestly dressing. Not that I ever had an issue dressing modestly at all. I'm never really a person that's like showing a lot of skin or cleavage or things like that. But I also wanted to make it more of like an intent every day to dress up and, make forth a genuine effort to look good. And so that's kind of what that image was for. Have I done that? Not really. I've gotten really comfortable with my baggy pants, loose fitted shirt or blouse, and, maybe a short or, short-ish heel. But outside of that, I really have not given that much effort into my look on a regular basis. Every now and again, absolutely, but not on a regular basis. And to be honest, I don't know if this is something I want to take into 2026 with me, simply because I think it was adding a lot of pressure on me to, try to put together an outfit, decide if I wanted to wear makeup that day. And then if I did wear makeup that day, I had to come home and take it off, in addition to doing my normal skincare routine. And much like my reasoning for cutting my hair again, was adding more time and stress to my day. And honestly, I didn't really think it was necessary for the goals I was trying to achieve in that season, if that makes sense. So for the goals I'm trying to achieve in 2026, do I think dressing more intentionally and more, maybe putting more care into my look Do I think that that's something that's going to help me with other goals? Possibly, because I am, really lacking in the confidence area, girl, believe it or not. So I don't know. I think that's something I'm going to think more about and how I can make that happen. I do think in connection with that, I'm going to try to definitely take more care of my skin. And on top of that, maybe incorporate one day out of the week, maybe, that I maybe will put makeup on or give a little more effort to my, facial appearance. Because that's something I definitely don't do and have not done all year. And I think it has kind of, I don't know, I feel like my confidence has been a little bit low this past year. I have to give myself some grace. Again, I did just have a baby, so a lot of that is from me looking at my body the way it was and what it is now, and kind of that grieving process too. So in realizing that, I'm going to give myself some grace, but this is something I want to think about a little bit more before I decide what to do. I have 2 pictures of food on here. This was just me saying how much I want to be more mindful of eating whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, what I would consider more clean protein, not the processed, meats. I think I did a great job of that this past year. I could have done absolutely much better than I had, but I think we did a really great job of that. Jared and I, we cook quite a bit during the week. Is it easy? No, but I have noticed how much more beneficial it has been to cook my meals, know what's going in them, versus, always going out to eat. Now, I will be honest, at the end of 2025, we were definitely doing more, eating out. And honestly, I don't feel bad about that because it just made more sense. At the end of the year, you're going to holiday parties, you're getting plates from relatives, leftovers, to-go plates, Tupperware containers, all the things. It didn't make sense for us to buy produce and all this other groceries that would probably go bad if we would have bought them and anticipated trying to cook a meal, or it didn't make sense to meal prep knowing that I'm gonna have leftovers in the fridge that I had to eat. Now, what we ended up doing, honestly, was around Thanksgiving. Was that Thanksgiving when I made that big lasagna? I had made that and a couple other dishes that I meal prepped going into December. So that period of time, we had a lot of food, and so anytime we'd go to a party, if somebody wanted to give us a to-go plate, we're like, we really don't need it, if I'm being honest, because we have so much food at home. But we definitely did really good with that, and we're still doing good with that now. And I just think 2026 is going to be that much easier because we've already been doing this, and so it's nothing that's going to be difficult for us moving into the next year. Okay, so now I'm going kind of a little bit back into the whole fitness and physique thing. There's a picture of that bowl of fruit that we were talking about earlier. The young woman beneath that bowl of fruit who is in a single arm handstand, or it looks like she may be going into a cartwheel. It's kind of unclear, but I just like that picture. It reminds me of this dream that I had. It was a very, very, very vivid dream that I had quite some time ago, probably a few years ago, and I shared it with my husband. And essentially in that dream, I saw myself doing this yoga practice that I have been trying to get into for so long. But I saw myself doing this practice, and it's like I was walking into the studio watching this young woman do this, and I was just in awe of how she looked and how easy her body flowed, and she just looked like she was so in control of her body, and her hair was hanging on over her face, so I couldn't really see her. But at one point during her practice, she flips her head over, and I look at her, and it's me. So I told Jared this all the time, that dream was so vivid, and it's the one thing that I keep reminding myself of. I realized this person, me, looking like this in this dream, having this level of control over her body when she moves, I can realize her in real life. So that picture was kind of reminiscent of that dream that I had, kind of as a reminder that, hey, this dream we had, don't forget, we want to see that, okay? At the very top in the center, and at the bottom center, and at the bottom right are all photos of, someone reading, someone kind of like looking off in the distance, but she has like the books on in front of her at the top. I use those photos to represent a couple of things. The photo at the bottom is the Bible opened to no specific page. That was the reason I put it there. But it was me saying that I wanted to spend more time in the Word. I wanted to be more intentional about my time with God every day. And then same with the photo next to it, just more time reading the Word. Oh, I think the one next to it actually wasn't about the Bible, more so just more time reading, which I definitely did. And kind of the same one above. Like, I want to be more organized. I want to be more on top of my stuff on a regular basis. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm constantly scrambling. So all of these kind of coincide with that. Like, I want to use my time more intentionally, in the morning when I'm getting on my knees and praying, when I'm reading my devotional, when I'm opening the Bible to hear whatever God wants to speak to me. I want to be more intentional with that. When I pick up a book from my bookshelf and I'm giving time and space to the words on those pages, like, I want to give that time to that. And I think I did a really good job of those things this year. I was very consistent in my devotions every morning. I think I may have missed out of the entire year maybe 5 days where I maybe forgot to do my devotion in the morning, or I did it too late. Like, there were some days where I did it and it was like maybe 12:30 in the morning, so technically it was the next day. But whatever. So I did really good with that, staying on top of that. But I think this year, the one thing I want to change is with my devotional time, I want it to be clear. I want it to be focused. I think that's probably going to be the word for the year, like focus. I think I was in my Bible all year. I was, doing my verse a day, doing my devotional every day, but I wasn't like deep diving and trying to hear what God is saying about those things necessarily when I got into it. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a daily thing. Like, every single day I need to have some prophetic word and, it shows forth itself in this way and that. Like, I don't think that's what's required of me in this season, but I mean, who knows? But I do think I want to spend more time, more intentional about what that devotion time looks like, as opposed to just reading the verse of the day and saying like, oh, how does this apply to me? Does it apply to me? Yes, no? Okay, move on about my day. Like, I want to give more thought and consideration to the scriptures and to how we apply them in our lives and what that means as far as, our relationship with God, and what should we know about God that we maybe don't know or we think we know, things like that. So I want to be more intentional in that way. And then the last two pictures are in the center, and then on the center right. The center right is my two girls. I just want to be able to, I want to be the mom that I'm supposed to be for them. And I know that's going to require my presence and my patience. And so 2025 was a lot about that, and just learning what it means to be a mom to two girls, to two sisters. I am the oldest of four. I have two younger sisters and a younger brother. So I want to make sure I'm building a life for them where they feel comfortable in this home. They feel safe in this home. They feel like they can be heard and understood. Even at the age of 3, Journey voices her opinion in a way where I can tell she's trying to be considerate as much as she can. And when that's hard for her, she'll often apologize. She's like, I'm sorry. And she doesn't really, I don't even think she quite grasps what sorry means, but she thinks she's supposed to say it. And a lot of times she's saying that just because she thinks maybe she did something she wasn't supposed to. So just giving my children that emotional intelligence earlier on as much as I can is something that I've been, really kind of working on. And I just want to be more patient with them than I think I probably have been in the past. Learning how to be a parent, learning how to be a mom is not something that they teach you. And it's nothing that you can really learn in a textbook or, an article that somebody's writing about, mom's brains and how they change. That doesn't teach you how to be a mom. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to teach you how to be a mom over your child better than you. So these are just all things I'm still learning. And so in this year, I'm definitely going to make sure I'm more present and more patient with my girls. And just being more intentional with my time with them too. I do think that sometimes, we've got all these other things going on in our day-to-day lives. And so when we have a moment to sit down and kind of be still, some of us will take advantage of that. I know I often do. And then the last picture in the middle is of me and Jared. I love this man, y'all. I really do. When I pray to God, that I would fall in love with my best friend, and I really have. And even when you get to your quote unquote happily ever after, for some people that's the wedding itself, right? And I can't stand that when people feel like that's the happily ever after, is the wedding. The wedding is the beginning of everything. I'm sorry, it is. Like everything before that was foreplay. I promise you. And I'm not trying to be funny, because I know that there are people who, they don't believe in the institute of marriage, or maybe they don't think it's necessary for the kind of relationship that they have. And I guess when I'm talking about marriage in this context, I mean two people who have decided that they're committing their lives to one another forever, until some drastic situation occurs. Because I am not a person who does not believe in divorce. I believe if you need to get one, you need to get one. But that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So for me, this is a big shift and change in my life, right? I've committed my life to be with somebody, to parent our children together, to manage our finances together, to run a household together. This is nothing I'm doing alone anymore. I'm sharing this with somebody else. When you decide to share your life with somebody else, that person better love you for real, okay? Because this stuff is not a joke. This stuff is not easy. It's just not. It's just not. There are going to be so many days where you're going to be happy, glad, elated, relieved that you have somebody to share some of the hard with, okay? And Jared has definitely been that for me. So that picture in the center was me kind of reminding myself to keep falling in love with each other, every step of the way. I think there are many instances where we've just been dealt a hard hand, and we've had frustrating situations that we've both had to deal with. And sometimes it's so easy to, kind of take it out on your partner who you see every single day and who they're going through the same experience. And maybe you feel like they're dealing with it differently than you are, and you wish that they would see it the way you're seeing it, right? And all of this has kind of taught me to be more patient, to listen more than speak. And it hasn't been easy, I'll be honest. So this is definitely something I need to carry into 2026 with me, so I'm better at it. But yeah, I think all of these things are things I want to bring into 2026 with me in some way, shape, or form. It just might not look the same this year. So I'm not going to recycle this vision board by any means, but I am going to use it as my inspiration going into the new year. All right, so now I want to talk about some of my 2026 ins and outs. Again, I did not end the year the way I wanted to with a structured plan, so this is kind of me doing that in real time. So in 2026, some things that I am leaving behind, okay? All right. Y'all, I'm a homebody. I love being a homebody. I don't regret being a homebody. However, in 2026, I'm leaving behind excuses not to go out because I want to be a homebody. I know. I do it all the time. I will tell people I can't be somewhere, or this happened or that happened. And it's usually I just want to be home. But we're not doing that in 2026, okay? For 2026, we're going to be honest about just not wanting to go, or not making the plan to go in the first place, right? So I'm going to be more intentional about my time. And honestly, I want to be more intentional about getting out. I didn't really get out much in 2026 the way I, probably had on my calendar, because I would frequently just not be in the mood. And I don't know what that was. I mean, I definitely felt more of it toward the end of the year with, the seasonal depression. But I feel like even before that, maybe because I just had a baby. Yeah, that might do it. So yes, in 2026, we are going to try to get out more. And even in that, I want to get the girls out more and do more things as a family on more of a regular basis, go to church more regularly, things like that. And then as we're talking about that, one of the things I also want to incorporate more is travel. We did go on a couple of trips last year, but I did feel like I was burnt out a lot last year because there were periods of time where I probably had enough vacation time to take off, but I didn't have anywhere to go, or I didn't have the money to get there. And so I think in 2026, and we've kind of already started this, Jared and I want us to start planning our vacations earlier on versus like waiting until the last minute to see if we have the money to pay for it, but planning it ahead of time so that we can save the money ahead of time so that we can actually execute the plan of going on those vacations to avoid the burnout. All right, another thing that I am up and down about whether or not I want to take it with me or leave it in 2026 are these fitness challenges. I was just telling Jared I might attempt 75 hard again. And after I said it, I was like, but do I really want to? Because the thing about it is, like, it's something that, I don't know, it's just not for everybody. And I failed it once before. And I don't know if that's me putting too much pressure on myself to do something else. So it's something that I'm still kind of thinking about. I don't know. I think fitness challenges are good if you are kind of lacking structure in whatever your fitness programming is and you don't really know what you do every single day. I think they're good for that. But if you're kind of already fairly disciplined, it's either just going to be something that's happening in the background and not really impacting you much, or it's going to be something that's creating the discipline that you actually need, or it's going to be something that's too much, for you to kind of be consistent with. And I feel like when that happens, then we start losing confidence and feeling down on ourselves and da-da-da-da-da. So I think for me, I'm going to approach challenges with a more soft approach. I'm not going to be so rigid on myself if and when I decide to get into a fitness challenge, but I can take it or leave it, honestly. Something I want to take into 2026 with me is being more intentional about getting my steps every day. And that right there was what kind of came from me thinking about the fitness challenges, because when I was thinking about 75 hard, I was thinking about how, you have to do one workout outside. And for me, that was always going walking or doing a light jog. And so I could get my steps easier with that. So when I talked about, wanting to count my steps more every day, that's something I thought I could incorporate given the fact that I was thinking about doing 75 hard. But essentially what I'm trying to do is increase the number of steps I've been taking every single day. I am going to try to get back into running again. I did a 5K last year. No, I did 2 5Ks last year. I'm so proud of myself. One that I was probably more disciplined on than the other one. The other one I kind of just did with my friends, so it was more fun. But I did do 2 5Ks last year. So I would like to do more of that this year, get more into running and actually, enter into some races. And make that something that I include in part of my fitness. I also, as far as like movement, this is probably the last thing I'll talk about when it comes to fitness. I definitely want to do something as far as moving my body every single day. Whether that's a stretch in the morning or a stretch at night, yoga routine, a high intensity workout, some cardio, whatever it is, I want to move my body every day. I was doing sun salutations in the mornings after I had Gyra because it was, low impact, something that was putting some heat in my body, but it wasn't too straining for me. I do think I want to get back into making sure that in the mornings I'm stretching my body because I wake up feeling very, very tight. And then I feel like that kind of carries throughout the day, and it's starting to create a lot of tension in some places that I think could be easily avoided if I just did a quick stretch in the morning. Okay, something I'm leaving behind in 2025. Well, leaving behind for January of 2026. Let me explain. So January 2026, I am going to do a no buy month specifically for books. Listen, I have a problem, okay? I have so many books on my shelf. I gotta get the list, but I wrote in pen, on paper, all of the books that I have in my physical TBR. I have enough books in my physical TBR where I don't need to buy any books this year to meet my reading goal. No, to exceed my reading goal. That's a problem. I told myself for the month of January, I said month of January for a specific reason, okay? I just know me. And there's no way I'm going to be able to go an entire year without buying books just so I can read the books in my physical TBR. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to start with January, and then we're going to see what the rest of the year holds. I'm probably going to do more of these no-buy months as the year goes on, and that's going to be progress enough because I didn't get myself none of that in 2025, okay? So in January, I'm not buying any books unless there's a new release coming out that I'm anticipating. I don't remember if there is, but if so, that will be an exception to the rule. Another exception to the rule is if I'm reading a series, which I currently am, and I don't have the rest of the books for that series, and I want to finish it. For that reason, I'll buy the book. But even as I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, girl, it's only a month. You could wait. I could wait. I am going to try to lean into going to the library more as well this year, because I think we did good at the beginning of 2025, and then we kind of fell off. So I would like to get back into going to the library more consistently, especially with the girls. Another thing I want to take into 2026 with me that I think as I was leaving 2025, I was doing much better with, and that's being more intentional about having dominion over my finances. So I was watching this content creator, Maya Graves. I love her channel, by the way. But she was talking about having dominion over your finances. And as I was listening to that, I realized what that really meant. It wasn't just, a way of having control over everything, knowing where your money is coming and going, but it's literally dictating and controlling how your money moves to ensure that it's working for you and not against you. I think there were often times, not even just last year, but in years past, I often would hesitate to check my bank statement or open the banking app on my phone because I didn't want to know what I was going to see. I didn't want to have to realize it just yet. I would usually wait until I got an email that said, oh, your payment was declined, or your payment is late, or hey, this payment is coming up. That's when I would know about stuff coming in and out of my bank account. Or if I swiped it and it didn't go through, then I'd have to look at my bank account. So I made it a point the second half of last year to be more intentional about, honestly, daily taking a minute to look at our budget app. We use Dollarbird, and making sure everything was lining up, performing and functioning, okay, the way that we expected it to do so. Believe it or not, there are charges that will come out of your account that weren't supposed to come out of your account. And when that stuff would happen, I wouldn't know about it because I wouldn't take the time to go look at my banking app because I didn't want to have to deal with the responsibility of what I would find, not realizing that I was losing money because I didn't have dominion over my finances. So what we're going to take into 2026 is having dominion over our finances. I'm calling it financial dominion. And I actually downloaded a Notion template. I think it was a free template, had to be a free template. And I called it financial dominion. And this is something that I'm gonna use to help our family get out of the debt that we're in. We're doing a really good job so far. We actually ended 2025 having paid off a loan that we had been paying on for quite some time. Okay, we're having financial dominion. We're not taking on any more credit this year. We're paying it off. All right, the last two. So my second to last one is I want to make sure I establish a solid and consistent cleaning schedule. If you know me, one of the things that I cannot stand is a messy house, okay? It drives me up the wall. And as a mom of 2 kids who could give a about the condition of this home, it's a lot. It's a lot. I will say, I've been a lot better about it this past year than I have in recent past. I've been a lot more patient about it. I realize I have to give myself more grace. There's no way I can keep this house spotless every single day with what we have going on here. And the fact that Jared and I both work full-time jobs, like somebody can't be here to clean up this mess that we leave during the day. And it's physically impossible for us to keep it clean unless that's all we did with our day was clean. And that's not all I'm doing with my day is clean. So I do want to establish a consistent cleaning schedule where I'm able to, at the very least, keep my house looking somewhat presentable to me and organized in a way where even if there is clutter, I don't feel like it's like overwhelming me. And I'm also able to continue to declutter. One thing I do want to try to do every week, at least once a week for the month of January, is spend one day during the week for like 30 minutes just decluttering something. I have closets that have so much storage crap in them. I have books I need to definitely unhaul. I have paperwork and old bills and mail that I could definitely throw away. Like, these are things I need to slowly declutter. I have notes that I've written in other notebooks that I don't use anymore that I definitely could probably either cut out and paste into my new journal or throw away entirely because they're just taking up space. These are the things I'm talking about, okay? I just worked on getting rid of a lot of the girls' clothes that were old. So now that Jaira is past the 12-month mark, all of those clothes that are 0 to 12 months, I'm getting rid of. I donated a bunch of them already, but I have 2 more bags that I still need to get rid of. But it just feels good every day to have something that's getting out of my house and nothing else is coming in. All right, so here's the last one, and I need to be quick and stop rambling because I only have about 8% left on my battery, y'all. But one thing that I'm going to take into 2026 with me that I started incorporating more toward the end of the year, and if you've been here even more recently, you know it's my Sabbath rest. I love the end of the week when I have that day where I have told myself, Tiara, God is commanding you and giving you permission to rest. This has become a rhythm in such a way that it really is doing what I think it's supposed to do, right? I was burnt out every week at the end of the week. I'd get to a Friday and it was like, man, there was so much I didn't get to do this week. So now I have Saturday, and I would use Saturday as my let's play catch up day, right? And then here comes Sunday, and I would dedicate that day to faith and family, you know, going to church or spending time at my mom and dad's house or visiting my sister and my nephews. And I would realize that come Sunday night, I didn't do anything to pour back into me. Nothing. Nothing at all. Me practicing Sabbath rest every week, when I tell you it's been life-changing, it's been life-changing. This weekly rhythm has really just kind of solidified itself. It's almost now so much a routine that I can't see my week without it. It's a 24-hour period that I'm saying, I'm resting. That's it. So that's something I'm definitely going to keep for 2026. I do think I want to be more intentional this year in that I want to put my phone away for a chunk of that time. I haven't really done that this past year. It's been something that's strangely enough difficult for me. But what I have done was, and I started this quite a while ago, I put time limits on certain apps on my phone. So like when I get home at the end of the day, my work email disconnects. Like I can't get any emails. I can't send any emails once I'm done for the day. So that's something I want to keep with me. But when it comes to social media, if I'm honest, the doom scrolling has to stop. It's gotten really bad to the point where like I'll be doom scrolling, I'll look up and I'm like, where did the time go? I really want to build like a dopamine menu, and if I do, maybe I'll make a video about that. But I'm not doing that no more. Doom scrolling on my phone was not doing it. Not at all. And the spirit of comparison was constantly getting in, so we're not taking that into 2026 with us. I'm going to slowly build this up. I don't want to cold turkey it. So I think for the month of January, each Sabbath, I'm going to make sure in the mornings when I'm having that, intentional time with God, and even when I'm having my coffee in the morning or reading my book in the morning, which I think I want to start doing more regularly, is reading in the morning time, maybe like around 5, so I can get, my book reading in right after I finish my devotional. But I want that time to be cell phone free. Now, I do use the Bible app for my devotional. I'm going through the 1-year Bible, through the Bible recap. I'm enjoying it so far. It's been fairly thorough, considering that I've read through Genesis and Job so many times. But I'm hoping I can get a little bit further this time around. But in the Bible app, it lets you see how many days you have to finish or what day you're on. And so I really like doing this in the morning, and then should be really the only reason I have to pick up my phone. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put time limits on my phone so that I am only on certain apps at certain times of the day. So my social media apps will be disconnected more and more as we go on throughout the year for those Sabbath days, so that I can have that really intentional, restful Sabbath that God commands. All right, guys, so that was my 2026 in and out list. Please leave a comment if you stayed to the end, letting me know that you are here and that you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your ins and outs are for 2026. What books are you planning on reading? What habits are you throwing away? What habits are you trying to pick up? What activities do you want to get involved in? Things like that. I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you did stay to the end of the video, go ahead and drop a pencil emoji to let me know that you are here at the end of the video and you are part of my end of the video crew. You are truly part of this family, and I thank you so much for supporting my channel.